Imagine a Roman army patrolling the vast frontiers of the empire, but they are not alone. Alongside the soldiers are loyal and fierce creatures, ready to protect what is theirs, the dogs. It's easy to think of these animals as mere pets or farm companions. But what if I told you they were strategic allies in the defense of the empire? How did the Romans use these dogs to watch over, detect, and neutralize invaders threatening their security? What happens when military cunning combines with canine loyalty? In this video, we will uncover the surprising tactics the Romans employed, revealing how dogs became key players in protecting the frontiers. Get ready to dive into a fascinating part of Roman history that might change your perspective on what defense and loyalty truly mean. The Roman Empire, renowned for its military ingenuity, was not only known for its disciplined soldiers and cutting-edge tactics, but also for its innovative use of animals in warfare. Among these animals, dogs held a unique position, serving not merely as companions, but as trained combatants. The selection of these dogs was meticulous, often focusing on breeds with heightened instincts for guarding, aggression, and loyalty. Molossians, a large and robust breed, were particularly favored for their strength and fearsome appearance. The Romans understood that the right dog could be as valuable as a well-trained soldier when it came to defending the empire's vast frontiers. Training these dogs was a process that mirrored the rigorous discipline imposed on Roman soldiers. The dogs were not only taught to follow basic commands, but also to react to various battlefield scenarios. Trainers worked tirelessly to ensure that these animals would remain calm under pressure, able to differentiate between friend and foe in the chaos of combat. Their natural abilities to track and detect threats were honed through rigorous drills, making them perfect for border patrols and night sentries. It was through this careful preparation that the dogs became reliable extensions of the Roman military apparatus. While many might imagine that these dogs were simply used as guard animals, their role was far more intricate. They were trained to serve as early warning systems, alerting Roman soldiers to the presence of enemies long before they were within striking distance. Their keen senses of smell and hearing allowed them to detect intruders in ways that human scouts could not. This early detection system provided a strategic advantage to the Roman legions, giving them precious time to prepare for incoming threats. In many cases, these dogs could mean the difference between a surprise attack and a well-coordinated defense. The bond between the Roman handlers and their dogs was more than just tactical. It was also deeply emotional. Roman soldiers developed a strong connection with their canine counterparts, trusting them with their lives. This bond was vital on the battlefield, where mutual reliance was key to survival. The loyalty and bravery of these animals were celebrated within the ranks, and stories of dogs saving soldiers' lives were not uncommon. Over time, the reputation of Roman war dogs grew, solidifying their place as an indispensable part of the Roman military machine. Incorporating dogs into military strategy was not a unique idea to the Romans, but the scale and sophistication of their use set them apart. Other ancient cultures had used dogs in warfare, but the Romans refined the concept, incorporating the animals into their broader system of military discipline and logistics. This combination of strategic training, emotional bonding, and battlefield utility created a force that was both feared and respected across the empire's borders. One of the primary roles of Roman war dogs was to act as sentinels along the empire's vast and often vulnerable borders. The sheer size of the Roman Empire, stretching from the windswept moors of Britannia to the sun-scorched deserts of North Africa, presented significant challenges for border defense. Roman patrols were spread thin across these regions, and human eyes could only watch so much. This is where the dogs came into play. Positioned at key points along the borders, particularly in isolated outposts and fortifications, dogs became the first line of defense against intruders. The dogs' heightened senses gave the Roman military a tactical advantage in border surveillance. Their ability to detect even the faintest sounds or smells from a distance allowed them to alert soldiers to approaching danger well before human scouts could. At night, when visibility was limited and the threat of enemy raids increased, dogs became invaluable. Their bark would pierce the quiet darkness, signaling that something was amiss. Many potential invaders found themselves unnerved by the omnipresent threat of detection by these silent sentinels, who guarded the empire with an unwavering vigilance. In regions prone to frequent skirmishes or raids, such as the borders of Germania or along the Danube River, the presence of war dogs became particularly crucial. The dense forests and unpredictable terrain in these areas made it easy for invaders to move undetected, but the dogs provided an extra layer of security. Roman soldiers learned to rely on the dogs' instincts, often trusting them more than their own senses. It wasn't uncommon for the dogs to notice an approaching enemy long before the soldiers were even aware of the threat, giving the Romans time to ready their defenses. These dogs didn't just bark to raise alarms. They were also trained to engage intruders directly when necessary. In many instances, dogs were unleashed to confront and harass would-be invaders, either driving them back or delaying them long enough for Roman reinforcements to arrive. This tactic was especially effective in rural areas where Roman soldiers couldn't be stationed in large numbers. The mere presence of these fierce animals often acted as a deterrent, discouraging enemy scouts or small raiding parties from attempting to breach Roman territory. The effectiveness of dogs as border sentinels wasn't limited to their physical abilities. Their psychological impact on both Roman soldiers and their enemies was profound. For the soldiers, knowing they had a loyal and ever-alert companion by their side boosted morale and created a sense of security. For enemies, the dogs represented a hidden threat, always lurking just beyond sight, ready to spring into action. This psychological edge was one of the many ways the Romans maintained control over such an expansive and diverse empire, using every resource available, including their canine warriors. When border security failed and invaders managed to breach Roman defenses, the dogs' role shifted from sentinels to active combatants. These dogs were not just guardians, but also trained warriors, capable of engaging enemies in direct confrontation. Unleashed in battle, they would charge at intruders with fierce aggression, their primary goal being to incapacitate or distract until Roman soldiers could take over. The sight of a dog, teeth bared and eyes locked on a target, was enough to instill fear in even the most seasoned of invaders. This tactic was particularly useful in ambush situations, where the element of surprise could tip the balance of power. On the battlefield, dogs were not just mindless attackers. They were trained to work in tandem with soldiers, executing maneuvers designed to confuse and disrupt the enemy. One of the common tactics was to send the dogs ahead of the main force, creating chaos among the invaders' ranks. As the dogs attacked, Roman soldiers would move in, taking advantage of the distraction to strike with precision. The combination of canine ferocity and Roman military discipline created a deadly synergy, one that enemies often found difficult to counter. The dogs' ability to attack swiftly and without hesitation made them valuable assets in both large-scale battles and smaller skirmishes. Roman war dogs were also equipped with specialized gear to enhance their effectiveness in combat. Some were fitted with spiked collars and armor, making them even more formidable on the battlefield. These protective measures ensured that the dogs could continue to fight even in the most dangerous of conditions. The image of an armored dog charging into battle, protected and ready to attack, was a powerful symbol of Roman military might. These dogs were not just tools of war. They were symbols of the empire's dominance, representing the relentless pursuit of victory at any cost. Beyond their physical prowess, the psychological impact of dogs in battle was significant. Enemy forces often found themselves unprepared to deal with the sheer ferocity of these animals. Many invaders had no equivalent in their own armies and were caught off guard by the tactical use of war dogs. This fear, combined with the dogs' unpredictable nature, added an extra layer of challenge for any force attempting to invade Roman territory. In many cases, the sight or sound of the dogs was enough to demoralize the enemy before the battle even began. The use of dogs in battle wasn't limited to Roman-controlled territory. As the empire expanded, Roman forces encountered new and hostile groups, and the dogs were brought along as part of their military expeditions. From the windswept hills of Britannia to the deserts of the Middle East, Roman war dogs saw action in a variety of climates and terrains. Their versatility and adaptability made them indispensable as the empire stretched its influence across continents, proving that they were not just border defenders, but active participants in the military campaigns that built and sustained the Roman Empire. The influence of Roman war dogs extended far beyond the borders of the empire itself. As the Roman Empire's reach grew, so too did the reputation of their canine warriors. Many neighboring cultures, both allies and enemies, observed the effectiveness of these dogs and began adopting similar practices in their own military strategies. The concept of using dogs for patrol and combat soon spread across the ancient world, from the forests of Germania to the sands of North Africa. Roman war dogs left a lasting imprint on the tactics of warfare, shaping how future armies approached the use of animals in battle. One of the most significant legacies of Roman war dogs was their role in shaping medieval and Renaissance-era military practices. As the Roman Empire fell and Europe entered the Middle Ages, the use of dogs in military contexts persisted. Nobles and kings, inspired by stories of Roman might, began to train their own breeds of war dogs. These animals served similar roles, guarding castles, patrolling borders, and even fighting alongside soldiers in key battles. The reputation of dogs as fierce and loyal protectors, forged during the height of the Roman Empire, carried forward into new eras of conflict. The legacy of these dogs wasn't just limited to Europe. The tactics the Romans developed were passed down through centuries, influencing military practices in parts of Asia and the Middle East as well. Empires that followed, such as the Byzantines, took inspiration from the Romans, incorporating dogs into their own defenses. Even after the fall of Rome, the strategic value of these animals was clear. From ancient times to modern military history, the role of dogs as protectors and combatants continued, with the Romans serving as pioneers in this domain. Another key aspect of the dog's legacy was their role in shaping the perception of animals in warfare. Before the Romans, dogs were often seen as companions or hunting aids, but the Romans elevated their status to that of critical military assets. This shift in perception had lasting cultural and symbolic effects. Dogs became associated with loyalty, bravery, and the willingness to defend territory at any cost. The Romans celebrated these qualities, and their admiration for their war dogs was reflected in art, literature, and even military honors bestowed upon particularly heroic animals. Today, the influence of Roman war dogs can still be felt in modern military and police forces. Canine units continue to serve as valuable assets in detecting threats, patrolling borders, and assisting in combat operations. The connection between humans and dogs that was solidified in ancient Rome remains a powerful force in contemporary society. While the tools of warfare have evolved drastically, the bond between humans and their canine partners, first truly realized by the Romans, endures as a testament to the enduring legacy of these remarkable animals.